Okay, I guess it's time to start. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this session to grow your app profitably in an increasingly competitive environment. I know this is the last session before lunch, so thanks for joining and bearing with me. So let's meet. I'm Bahar, and I've been with madduck for about 2.5 years now, and I've been leading its publishing business. And madduck is an app studio. It started its journey as an app studio with a specific focus on iOS, non-gaming, and subscription-based apps. And not long after, the apps were so successful that we decided to pour our marketing know-how and expertise and financial resources into collaborations with other apps. And concurrently, we started building our in-house tools to increase our efficiency in our publishing processes. So basically, we are an app studio / publisher / tech firm with a specific focus on non-gaming iOS subs-based apps. Well, let's face it, it's very difficult to survive in this environment, in this ecosystem. There are more than 4.6 million apps, both in App Store and Play Store, and they generate around $96 billion per year. This is the 2023 numbers, by the way. And only 6% of these apps can generate any revenue at all. I mean, anything that's above 0 is included here. And only 1% of all these apps can generate that's anything above $10,000. So, and only 14% of any apps that are making any revenue at all, generating any revenue at all, can go above $10,000. So the numbers look rough, and these are only estimations, by the way, based on what the Sensor Tower and the 42 Matters numbers look like. But I mean, let's face it, the reality is not far from this picture. So it is very crowded in stores and very difficult to grow profitably. Oh, so is there a recipe for success to grow profitably, to earn some money, scale, and do this profitably? Well, there's an intuitive list and logical list that an app needs to perform in order to release a decent app with some potential to scale profitably. So here's the list, actually. First, you need to address an unmet or an undermet need or introduce a new capability of a new technology. And then you need to address that problem and solve it with a decent code base. And you need to do it with a nice user interface. It has to be very user-friendly so that people can actually use it, right? And then you need to invest in your ASO. Then you need to invest in your paid marketing. And then you need to focus on your LTV. Try to maximize it by playing with your pricing and your A/B tests, etc. Play with your packages, positioning, and this is another story on its own. And then you need to focus on your retention to increase engagement with your users so that users stay longer in your app and you can generate more value from them, right? And finally, you need to improve the app based on your customers' feedback. But I mean, you all know the recipe here. This is not something new that's new to you. And obviously, finally, you need a little bit of something that's called luck. But, I mean, let's face it, this is no longer a mission that a solo developer can tackle. The first 4 items rely on the developer, and the second 4 items rely on the marketing team and the subs management teams, and the last one relies on both. It's a joint effort between the 2 teams. Well, if you try to do it solo, you have to juggle a lot of things. So it's not easy to handle this alone. So this is where we come into play. I've already told you who madduck is, so I'm not going to repeat myself, but we have accumulated a lot of expertise over time from partnering with different apps from all over the world. So we have a lot of takeaways that I would like to share with you today. So today, I will be sharing all those takeaways that we've accumulated from working with our different partners from all over the world. But before I start, I would like to ask you a question first. If you had to choose a single metric to determine the success of your app, the performance of your app, what would it be? What would be the single most important metric, your true North Star? Does anyone want to make a comment? LTV, that's a good one. Sure.
Repeat usage.
Repeat usage, that's good. Retention, that's a good one. That's a component of LTV. Yeah. Anyone else? Okay. It's good that I did not hear anything related to revenue because that's something that we try to avoid. And it's good that nobody in the room mentioned anything close to proceeds, etc. So I'm not going to tell you what our answer is. I'll tell you in a bit. But we have people in the room who've actually got close to the answer. So this Sankey diagram represents our customer funnel. And this is what we all have to manage if we want to be successful in scaling our apps profitably. And I know it looks overwhelming and complicated, but I promise you, when you dive deep into it, you realize that it's very intuitive and actually not that difficult to grasp. But in a complicated customer funnel system like this, you need a true North Star. You need something that will be a good indicator of the fact that you're actually performing well. And it should definitely not be proceeds or revenue, anything related to that, because we believe that it's corruptible. I mean, it's very susceptible to misinterpretation. So be it MTR, MRR, proceeds, net sales, etc., it's not what we're looking for. Obviously, we're in a spend money to make money business. So the more we spend, we're aiming to gain more users. So what we earn today is not meaningful. What we earn in the long run is what's actually important. So you need to take a look at what you earn in the long run. And by long run, I mean your own runway. Because nobody can hold their breath forever, financially, I mean. Even the most well-funded institutions have a finite runway, so you need to determine what your own runway is in order to calculate your own long run. So, our answer to the question I asked you 2 slides ago is PLTV, predicted LTV. So we need to understand how much revenue we will be earning in the long run from a single customer and strike a balance between the customer acquisition cost and the PLTV. That's what our North Star is. We use PLTV because it's the combination of all the variables and factors within the post-acquisition bit of the funnel. So the second takeaway, you have to maximize the number of trials that you run by minimizing the amount of expenditure that you invest in. And that also means you need to shorten the periods of trials as well. I know it's easy to say, but there are ways that you can implement to shorten the amount of time that you test your A/B tests and cut your decisions in a timely manner. In order to do that, you have to spot your problems in a very fine detail. So people can say that you have a churn problem. Yes, well, duh, I know that I have a churn problem, but where does it lie? Is it in a specific country? So it has to be stated in a very fine detail. So you should be able to say, I have a churn problem in Brazil with my January 2024 cohort, so that I can make some hypotheses on what's going wrong, and then I can act upon it, right? And you should not wait forever to get the results of your A/B tests. So for example, if your churn is densely populated in the first 10 days of the subscription period, then you should limit the duration of your A/B test for only 10 days. So because there is no point in waiting for another 20 days if you're talking about a monthly package here, because you'll see most of the results in the first 10 days here. I mean, if you can generate sufficient number of subscribers, obviously. That's also very important. But I know that you cannot implement this in every single A/B test, but this is where one of the things that you can use it. And obviously, this requires you to spot the problem flawlessly and in very fine detail. Another one is that you need to invest in all of your apps, no matter how small or large they are. You shouldn't discriminate among your apps, because some of your apps, you may be sitting on $1 million, but you may not know it. You just need to give them that little push, and once you give them that little push, they will have more visibility. And once they have that visibility, you'll be able to determine their success, and you will be able to see how they perform in the market, right? And you'll be able to see where the problem lies. Is it the CPIs that's too high, and can you do something about it? If you can do something about it, then you act upon it. Is it the conversion rates that are too low, that's making it problematic for you to acquire users? Then you take a look at what's going on there, and then if you can do something about it, you try to improve them. And obviously, if you can't do anything about them, then you have to make a decision to stop investing in the app. But no matter how small it is, it's worth to leave some budget, not a lot, maybe, but just give it a go. I know this may be expensive, but I mean, you can. There are options in the industry where you can get help, so that you can mitigate the financial burden it has on you. Another one of the takeaways we have is that you need to monitor regularly, but you need to use checkpoints to make your final assessments. This may come to you as very intuitive, right? But sometimes we fall into the fallacy of evaluating the performance of our app every single day. Obviously, we need to regularly check what's going on. We need to check for irregularities in any campaigns. If there is an overexpenditure, we need to get it under control. And if there is an opportunity to lower the CPI, the CAC, increase impression, we need to take every opportunity. But while we're doing this, we should not jump into any conclusions regarding the performance of the app. That's why we need to set up regular checkpoints to see how the app is performing. But that's something else other than checking the app every single day. So your checkpoints should be at times when you reach statistically significant amount of data. So the fact that one variant is performing better than the other one on a percentage basis obviously means nothing. You need to have statistically significant amount of data so that you can make meaning out of the test that you're running. And you need to base your decisions on time intervals long enough so that you have that sufficient amount of data. So let's have a look here. So we have two variants here. Which one of them do you think is performing better? Okay, obviously the second one, right? It has an install to activation rate that's doubled than the default variant, and the install to subs rate has almost improved 50%. So it looks like the second variant is performing much better than the first one, right? But when we look at the install and the new subs numbers, we see that we don't have sufficient amount of data to jump into a conclusion. So and it's only been 3 days since 4 days since the second variant has gone live. So obviously it's not sufficient to go forward with the second variant, right? It is promising though, but it still needs a bit of time to jump into a conclusion here. And, this is the most difficult one that we're trying to practice. So we need to kill apps as soon as possible. You need to try to build a winning portfolio of apps rather than investing in a single winner app, because you may not have, if you put all your baskets in one single basket, it's very risky. And if you try to create a portfolio of winning apps, then you get time to focus on other projects as well, because you start deprioritizing the others when they start to show that they are about to be killed, right? So what we do in order to kill apps, it's not easy, by the way, because when you see some improvements, it always takes forever for you to make this decision. So what we do is we assess the PLTV to CAC ratio, and we assess not what it is, but what it will be in the future given the data that we have today. So if the LTV to CAC ratio is, 0.5 today, we try to predict what it will be like in the future given the data that we have today. So we look at the best case scenarios and the worst case scenarios and where it can go. So if there is no light at the end of the tunnel, then we kill the app. And in order to do this, you need to set up your initial targets right and abide by them. And as I said, you need to create a winning portfolio. And in order to do all these, you need to have a very, very good understanding of this customer funnel that I showed you at the beginning of my presentation, because it is the output of this funnel that you need to optimize. So as mentioned, I know this is overwhelming and complicated, but do not fret. This is not what we're going to do for simplicity purposes. This is not what I'm going to continue with. We have a more simplified version here that I'll go over. So I've already told you that we're looking at the LTV to CAC ratio in order to determine the success of an app, right? And this is how the funnel looks like. So up until the time that users come and subscribe to your app, it is the components that make up the customer acquisition cost of your app or of your funnel. And beyond this point, these are the components that make up the LTV of your app. So, and the objective of the CAC bit is to maximize the paid number of paid users while minimizing costs. So we'd like to minimize costs. That's the objective here. But we want to do that by maximizing the number of paid users, obviously. Otherwise, just having a single customer would not work out, obviously. And on the other side, we want to maximize LTV, PLTV specifically. And we can do this by maximizing the lifetime, the amount of time the customer spends in the app. And by that, I mean how many times it renews. They renew the subscription, and by maximizing value, that's related to pricing, obviously. Calculating CAC is pretty straightforward. Once you have the numbers, it's out there. There are no surprises here. But calculating PLTV is a bit more tricky because it's obviously a prediction of how much you're going to earn from a single customer throughout your entire relationship. The formula is very easy, by the way. It's not very long. I'm not going to get into it. But if you don't have the right inputs in the formula, then the output is not accurate at all. So you need to have the right inputs here. And once you have those, once you calculate both sides, you need to estimate, like I said a few slides ago, you need to estimate your best and worst case scenarios. So for example, if you want to know how much you can improve your CAC, just plug in the best performing apps install the subs rate to your CAC calculation with the CPI, so that you'll see how can the extent to where you can lower your CAC. And if it does not reproduce a ratio that's above 1, the ratio LTV to CAC, that's if it's not above 1, then obviously you need to kill that app, right? Immediately, because the likelihood that it's going to perform better than your best performing app is, let's face it, it's not very high. So that's how we would like to approach working with apps, because otherwise it takes forever to come to a conclusion about an app. So here we do have a tool that you can get access to. This is how we did it manually before we automated the process to calculate PLTV. It has the instructions for you there, so you can definitely go ahead and take a look. You're going to need access, and I will provide the access after the session. Sorry about that. And in order to have the right inputs, you need to use your most recent cohort on your specific packages, and you need to eliminate your data that shows any irregularities. So once you do that, you have a healthier input. And then obviously you're going to use your retention data, by the way. And then you will have an estimation of what your PLTV is. And how we do this internally is with our in-house tool that we built to optimize our processes, because with the click of a button, we can see how each of our variants perform in each country with a confidence level. So it's very easy for us to see which variant performs better than the other one, and we can go ahead and use that one as the main one. And last but not least, well, you should avoid the trap of building your own in-house tools. We fell into this trap, but it's not something that everybody can manage, because if you don't have the right resources, the mission, the focus, then it's very, very difficult to do this on the sidelines. I know everybody has their own approach of managing app success and managing their apps. So this may require different solutions, and sometimes it's not possible to find those solutions in the market. And that's when you feel like, oh, we can build our own tool. But, and once you build that tool, you want to market it, etc. And it's not as efficient as it sounds, because it requires a lot of dedication, and you can't do it on the sidelines if you don't have the resources and the focus and the will. And I don't even want to mention about the maintenance. It's always something that you need to do. Well, alternatively, obviously, you can use the tools in the market, and that would save you a lot of time. First, go ahead and try the tools in the market, and then if you are still not satisfied with them, then consider building your own in-house tool. That's what I would suggest you. And worst of all, it's repetitive. Once you do your in-house tool, you want to add like new features, but they are not new features. They are features that already exist in the industry. So they become competitors to each other. I know it's very important to have competitors to fuel growth, but I mean, let's face it, one market can have only so many tools, right? There should be a saturation point. But I'm very curious to know about what your own key takeaways are, what you are going through, what has your experience been. So, anyone who would like to jump in and comment on it? So actually, this wraps up my session, but I would like to share a few case studies with you, which made it possible for us to come this far and acquire all these valuable insights. So, Poster Maker, we started working with them at the beginning of their journey, and they make very good templates. They offer a variety of templates ranging from invitations, birthday cards, organization announcements, etc. All sorts of templates that you can think of, social media posts. And we started working with them at the beginning of their journey, and they currently have month-over-month growth rate, MRR growth rate of 22%, and they have a very significant growth. We have increased their LTV by 3.3 times as they multiplied their LTV by 3.3 times. We multiplied their conversion rate by 4.5 times, and we multiplied their install to subs rate by 6 times. Another one is teleprompter, which is a prompter in your pocket. If you'd like to record a speech and you need some notes you want to take a look at, then it's what you use to take your cues. And it's a very seamless way to record any video speeches. And during the time, and since we started working together, we were able to multiply their MRR by 25 times, and their install to subs rate by 3.5 times, and their MRR growth rates reached a 19% rate. And we also have a phone tracker. You can tell by its name. You can track your users, your loved ones with the phone tracker and ensure that they're safe. And since we started working together, its LTV has been multiplied by 3.6 times, while its install to subs has been doubled. And this led to a monthly proceeds growth rate of 18%. And finally, Vocal Tune. It allows you to create your own high-quality songs by offering you a wide range of beats and vocal effects. Its LTV has been multiplied by 1.5, and its install to subs been multiplied by 2.6. And its current MRR is 10.7 times its initial level. So this is, when we start working with apps, this is the impact that we can create on the apps by offering our marketing expertise, use all these takeaways. And obviously we learned all these takeaways from these apps, working with them. And we obviously have many, many more apps in our portfolio that we also learn from. But our aim is to create a winning app portfolio, like I told you during the presentation, rather than focusing on a single app. So this wraps up my session, and thank you very much for joining me. It's been a pleasure, and if you want to access, I saw some of you taking pictures. If you want to access the presentation, you can access it through here, and if you would like to connect with me on LinkedIn, there is a QR code.